Welcome back to the Becoming Relentless podcast. We are your hosts. I'm Eleanor McCabe, Team Mahaley coach, and I'm joined by the lovely
Cecily Wesch, Team Mahaley coach. And Danielle Kissenberger, Team Mahaley coach.
And today we are going to talk to you guys about impact.
Over influence.
Yes, we don't want to be influencers. We want to impact.
Impactors.
Mm-hmm. So what do you guys think is the most important for people who are starting out, maybe on their social media, or even just in general, for people who are looking to spread positive impact, and maybe they start going about it the wrong way? Like, what are some of your tips for people who are just starting out, people who want to make impact?
So I will say, I think one of the biggest things you should do is continue learning. Because I feel like the more you learn, the more confidence you have in your word and what you're saying and how you're preaching and what you have to give and impact people. Mm-hmm. So constantly find ways to educate yourself and learn more. And that's going to help you have more purpose and feel more purpose within yourself. That would be honestly my number one. Because that's what I feel right now. Mm-hmm. Like I could tell if I'm feeling not as impactful as I want to, it's probably usually because I feel like I haven't learned enough that day or learned enough that week. So that helps me.
Mm-hmm. I like that a lot. And I recently started focusing and dialing in on my education more too. And I can already feel like way more comfortable in front of the camera talking and things like that. So I think that's a big one. Another thing for me though would be making sure that you enjoy it. Like enjoy what you're putting out, that you like it. And it's mm-hmm. something that you feel like a connection with, that you're not just putting something out to put something out.
Right.
You want to have a purpose behind it and also enjoy what you're doing.
So it kind of comes down to like that quality over quantity. Mm-hmm. And then I like what you guys both said about the continued education piece, because I feel like especially here on Team Mahaley, with Justin as like our mentor, our leader, but even each of us as individuals, like we push each other to learn and grow every single day. Like there's not a day that goes by that like in the group chat, we're not learning something new, whether it's like physique related, biology, some random new fact, but we are just constantly pushing ourselves to learn. And I do think that is huge when it comes to impacting others, because we can take what we learn in our education and essentially just impart it onto others and help mm-hmm. other people.
I agree. One thing that I thought about honestly earlier, it was like 3 hours ago. I was like listening to a podcast and they were talking about how influencers or new people trying to influence and be an influencer on a page copy other people's aesthetic on their page, what mm-hmm. they say and everything. And I was like thinking to myself, I was like, how dope is it? Because I've always tried, like I look at my page and I'm like, dude, my page is not that aesthetic compared to anyone else's. And I'm like, well, it's not supposed to be. Like, this is me. You like come to my page, you see me, you see how unaesthetic I am. And then you meet me in person, I'm just like a giggly like human. And like that's I think how my page like my page is like random. I'm kind of random. So I think everyone's page, like, dude, make it your own. Mm-hmm. Like it doesn't have to look the best. Like, yes, that may attract more followers, but again, impact over influence. If you want to impact people, you can have 5,000 followers and impact every single one versus mm-hmm. 100,000 and impact only 5.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I am really like, to me, mm-hmm. the aesthetics of it is something that I enjoy and that I like. So I like to have my page look pretty personally. Mm-hmm.
I think it works really well.
Yeah. And I think it works really well. And yeah.
No, but it does help your it works well. And it just like make it your own. It can look pretty. Don't copy Cecily's page.
Yes.
Copy what you want your page to look like in your head.
Yes. I think that was what my brain was trying to get to. It's create your own brand. If you want to mm-hmm. impact someone, create your own brand and be true to who you are. Don't do something because you think it's going to get you more followers or more likes or more this. That's just influencing.
Right.
If you want to impact, you're going to be putting out something with a purpose.
I agree. And I lost my train of thought. Good one.
I think being authentic to yourself and mm-hmm. Just really driving that home, because like you said earlier, a lot of people will go to other coaches' pages and they will literally take, like I've seen both of you guys have created great content, great reels. I've seen other teams and other coaches take what y'all have done and literally put it on their page, but them saying it. And it's like they copied you word for word, but it doesn't come off the same way that y'all's content does. It doesn't hit the same way because they literally just copied you. Like there's a difference between copying and putting it out there versus like learning it, living it, and then making it authentically yours and putting it out. Like I understand in this day and age, nothing that we say is unplagiarized. Like we have lived for so long on this earth as humans, like as a species. The sentence coming out of my mouth right now has been said a million times before. So that's going to plagiarism is going to happen. But I think when it's like intentional versus unintentional, and then also like giving credit where credit is due, and then also just like coming from a place of creating from your own genuine self.
Yeah. And your identity is what really sets you apart from other people. So like that's what I was going to say with you is you nailed it, but your identity on your page, like who you are. And something I've been thinking about a lot lately is like, you know, why would a person hire us as a coach? There's a million people, but it comes down to who we are and our identity as well. And I have tried, I'm making myself weekly or trying to do in my daily routine to doing things that make me figure out more of who I am. So I can feel more purpose, and more impact throughout what I offer and myself.
So what are some of those things that you've been doing to help like dive deeper into yourself?
Yeah. Definitely going on walks alone and like laying down outside, downtown or anywhere that you can lay outside, to be honest, and just like sitting there. Sometimes I'll have a podcast. I'll start with the podcast and then like I'll take a break from the podcast, something that's not like educational, something that's more like personal growth. And then I'll just kind of reflect on like my day, myself, my goals, how I'm feeling. That's big because, you know, sometimes you just don't feel good. Sometimes you feel good. So how I'm feeling is super huge. I started doing the IMs and those help as well. But it's like I have to sit there. You know, you got to sit there. It's not like, well, I am XYZ. Like you think about it. What are you actually? Don't just write powerful because powerful is the first word that popped in your head. No, like what's really going to resonate with you? That's huge.
Yeah. The I am statements, I think that's so important.
Another thing, so on my walks, which I'm making it a goal, is that I'm going to journal. I'm going to bring a journal with me. So when I sit there in the yard, well, whatever you want, I'm going to call it a yard. I'm going to journal at the same time. And I think that's because I've never journaled before. And honestly, waking up, I already have my morning routine. So, but I do want to journal. So making it a part of my day later in the day, that's my goal to help me find more of my identity.
I like that. Yeah.
Thank you.
Something that I've started doing, which is kind of similar to Danielle. This is really funny, but I used to hate like silence. I always had to have background noise. And I think that was me trying to distract myself from what was going on like in my head because I had all these thoughts and I wanted to just silence them, turn them off. So I recently started driving with no music and like no sound for not all the time. Like if I need to get hype or I'm like trying to like, I'll sometimes have a podcast on or when I'm going to the gym, I'll have like my hype music going. But aside from that, I've been trying to not listen to music if I'm driving by myself. And that's kind of my reflection time. I take that to like sit with myself, think about things, especially if I've recently had a conversation with someone that was like a little bit heavy and I'm leaving and like, or after leaving like a business meeting, I like to sit and I like to drive and I like to think about the conversation and how it made me feel and just let my mind flow. And that's been super helpful for me recently.
Yeah. I'm really proud of you.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
It's kind of a hard thing to do, sit in silence. I don't think a lot of people challenge themselves that way.
I will challenge myself, everyone here in the podcast, sit in silence and like don't just sit there for as long as 30 minutes, an hour, whatever time you have, 10 minutes. Let your mind wander and see what kind of thoughts come to your mind. Like let it wander and then eventually you're going to be like, oh crap, like I got to do something. But then you're going to reflect back and see what kind of thoughts you were thinking about. Were they positive? Were they negative? What were they about? How was your emotions during that time? And that's going to tell you really how you're feeling within your life and within yourself in your current state.
Yeah, I think it'll bring about like a greater self-awareness.
Yeah.
And that's absolutely key for if you're trying to impact other people, like you really have to know yourself.
Yeah.
So these are great ways for people to start getting in tunes like with themselves.
Mm-hmm.
And they're actionable too, because like even if you don't have 30 minutes to go on a walk outside, I guarantee like you're in the car either commuting to work, going to get groceries, going to the gym. Like there is an amount of time that you're sitting in a car that you could have nothing playing, just sitting in silence with your own head, your own thoughts. Like, and that's a great time to start self-reflection.
Yeah. And eventually it'll probably morph into something that's like Danielle's, but for now, my car is my safe place for me to think.
Yeah. And that's all it takes. Just like a few minutes every day, something like tiny, actionable, it adds up. And like you said, eventually, like you might be drawn to journaling. You might have like these thoughts and be like, man, I really want to write this down. And then that's how that starts. Like there is no right time, place, way to do it.
Yeah.
Just kind of making it fit for your life.
You know, and I think that's really good. One reason why I sometimes can't do that, which I used to do this all the time, I used to do that, was just because like I'm so bad at driving that I have to pay attention. I just wanted to like, I wanted to use just like a joke in there, but seriously, I'm really bad at driving, so I definitely have to like pay attention.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's a very good tip.
So I had a conversation with Zach because he has such a long commute right now. And it was the same thing. He's like, well, I have to pay attention because he has a hard time like multitasking. And I think all of us do. Some of us are just like better at disguising it than others. But like he was like, when I'm in traffic, like I have to focus. Because I was telling him like, I'd really like you to start like figuring out what fulfills you, because that's where he's at crossroads like in his career. So he's been feeling kind of stuck. And I was like, the only way that you can feel unstuck is like by going inside yourself. Like you need to like figure out what you want to do, who you are, who you want to be. And like that's the first step. And I was like, to do that, you need to like take time for yourself. And he's like, well, I don't have time because I commute to work and then I work all day and then I commute home and then I want to spend time with you or I want to go to the gym, like all this stuff. And so I was like, okay, your commute, that's an hour. Like there's got to be some time in there for you to self-reflect. But then to his point, he was like, well, traffic gets gnarly. I have to focus. So what he's been doing is like, there's a stretch of the highway where it's like usually you're just stopped.
Yeah.
So that stretch of highway is like where he does his thinking. Because he's like, well, I'm not actually driving. I'm just in the car and we're going like 5 miles per hour. We're not driving. We're just stopped. So there's always a way. Basically, long roundabout way of saying like, there's always a way to fit it in your day. And I think it's important to do so.
Even if it's not, yeah, I agree. Even if you find yourself like, if you're getting new to this, do it once a week. Like there's always time at least once a week to do it.
You don't have to do it every single day.
Sometimes you won't even have thoughts, like maybe the same thoughts are from yesterday, you know, so give yourself some time.
Yeah. But if you are having the same thoughts from yesterday, maybe reflect on why you're having the same thoughts, because there's probably some deeper rooted reason.
Dissect those.
Yeah.
So when it comes to impact, when did you guys realize that you were having an impact? Like, was there a moment in time that you remember?
There's this very specific DM that I remember. Oh man, am I going to get like emotional? I don't know why, but it's not that deep. But there's this DM that came in to me and it was from a transgender woman. And she was telling me about how I like my voice and the way I was standing up for myself and how I presented myself as like a strong woman that was like proud of my masculine side as well. She just wrote this long message to me about how much that has impacted her and made her feel more comfortable with her body and like has like kind of validated all the struggles that she's been through in her life. That was like a really big moment for me to like be able to have that kind of impact on someone's life and to like make them feel that way, make them feel safe and secure. That was big.
It's unique to you too, because like so many people look up to you. So like that, and none of us, like we can all relate in some way, but like you to her, you're like her idol. And there's so many girls that you're their idol.
I think for you to stand up and speak the way you do about like how you're being treated online, because you've been very good about you just brush it off. But other people, like it's not so easy for them, you know, they don't feel like they have that power yet to step into themselves and really own it. So to see you doing it, I'm sure for her that was just incredible and huge. And like that's a huge moment of impact. And like out of everything, like that DM probably made your day. And like her sending it probably made her feel good because she's like, man, like I'm going to talk to this person who I really am inspired by. And I'm sure you wrote back something like incredible.
Yeah.
Like,
we had
I'm
we
sure
had
you
a
guys
conversation. It was really amazing. And she's not the only one. Like the DMs that we get, like those make my day. Yeah. Those make me, those are where I feel the most impact. Like knowing that I can make other women feel stronger and own who they are. That's probably one of like the most fulfilling things that I can do. And it's a really big goal for my impact on my platform is to help empower other women.
And I've seen that through your social media, how it's changed and evolved. Like I can see that your impact, it shows that that's your impact. That's what you wanted. Like I saw your reel the other day and I was like, I know exactly where Sess is going with her impact. And you just spoke about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is really incredible.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
What is a moment for you where you felt like you saw the impact or you felt it or you heard it?
The DMs are huge. The messages are huge. Man, I don't feel like there's a certain like message where I was like, wow, like I'm impacting. I think it was more so, you know what, how I view life is even when I wasn't, it was 3 years ago when I wasn't on Team Haley, I was in the gym. I was like 16 and I was going through my eating disorder and I was 5 a.m. getting my cardio in. I knew it was impacting then. But you know how I realized like we all impact each other is because I saw other people going through struggles like mine at the gym too, and they were impacting me. People that maybe were overweight and like, I know like this is really hard for them. They're impacting me. So that made me realize that I'm impacting other people as well. So even it wasn't necessarily just one moment. It's been like for years and years and years, like just people that may not think they're impacting other people are impacting me. So I know I'm impacting other people as well.
Right.
I think that's a really great point to think of because I think people think, well, I can't impact someone because I don't have a big like social media platform. That is so much further from the truth.
Yeah.
You can impact way more people in person than you can online. So much more and so much deeper just by how your energy that you bring into a room when you enter somewhere, whether that be the gym, the grocery store, or coffee shop, you impact people just by the energy that you put out daily.
I love that. You made me that challenged me to enter the elevator because I enter the elevator every day, like all the time, to make sure that when I enter the elevator, because the elevator is very quiet. Everyone's like awkward. Do I say something? All the time, say something. And like, I want to get in there and like make sure like my vibe is high. Thank you for that.
Yeah.
Well, so we've been talking about impact in a positive way, but to your guys' point, like the energy that you bring into the room, you're impacting people constantly in person, whether you know it or not, positively or negatively. So what are some ways that you guys have seen or that what are some tips actually that you would like to give our podcast listeners on how they can positively impact people just like in a daily setting?
Give out compliments all the time. You don't know
That's my
someone
favorite one.
dude, that's my favorite. Yeah. Give me some. Give me some too. You like just yeah. Like it can be about the smallest little thing. Compliment them. And honestly, if you want to make it even better, compliment on something that they would not expect at all.
Yeah.
Like honestly,
Like not a physical characteristic.
Like the voices.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When my voice gets complimented, that is probably like my favorite compliment.
Yeah. Just anything though.
Yeah, I love that one. I think like also checking your energy before you leave somewhere, you go into somewhere, and try to have a smile on your face. Like, I know resting bitch face is where our face wants to go, but be cognizant, be aware of it, because when you walk around like that, you're not spreading the impact that you want to. So try to. I hate it when I hate it when people tell me you should smile more. That is a really big ick for me, but it does make a difference. When you enter a room and you're smiling and you have positive energy, it's not like a full teeth, like, this cheesing. Like, just a soft smile, enter, and I think that it makes a world of a difference.
I like that.
Yeah.
I wanted to ask you about your impact though. if you had like a single moment,
Me.
yeah, or how did you find out that you were impacting others?
I don't think there was a single moment. Like it's kind of similar to you where like over time it's sort of built up into something. I had a really recent conversation. Like this is the first thing that came to my mind with somebody at the gym. So I always go on the weekends and I do my fasted cardio really early. And there's this guy, JP, who works out and he listens to our podcast. So he'll listen to this.
JP, you're
shout
You're
out.
the man.
But he's awesome. Like the energy that he brings every time I go do like Saturday or Sunday when I'm doing my cardio, I know he's going to be there. And I just know that his energy is going to light me up. So if I'm tired, like I'm like, oh, JP's going to be there. And he'll come talk to me while I'm on the elliptical, like, or on the stairs or wherever I am. Like he'll come and talk to me for like 10, 15 minutes. But our last conversation, he was talking about how on his job, he's a driver. So he has like a specific route that he does. He's gotten to know the families on that route really well because he's been doing it for like 8 years. And he said that a family that he like knows lost their son. And it was like a really big tragedy. And like he said that it not only impacted the neighbors and that family, but it impacted him as the driver. It impacted like his company because they all knew him. And then like it just kept spreading this like tragedy. But he said that what happens when something bad like that happens, the way that he takes it is that you have to live each day in the moment and live your life knowing that like tomorrow could be completely different. Like you could get hit by a bus tomorrow. You just don't know. And so he takes it as like a positive spin that like, yes, this is very tragic, but as I go about my day-to-day life now, I'm going to smile at strangers. Like what you guys are saying, basically. He's like, I make a point to wait at the crosswalk extra long to make sure people make it safe. Like I'll block like in his truck, he's like, I'll block drivers who are trying to get around me because they're like impatient if somebody's in the crosswalk because I don't want to see somebody get hit because of somebody else's impatience. And like, he makes it a point that he's very positive to everyone. He'll like ask them if they've drank their water today. He'll offer a smile or he'll do what you guys are saying, a compliment. And like we had this conversation and I'm like doing my cardio and then he went back to his set and it was like in my head for the rest of my cardio session, I was just like, dang, that's huge. Like JP just impacted me so profoundly and he didn't even know because then the rest of my day, like I made sure we went to the grocery store. I smiled at everyone. And I don't usually do that because I'm kind of introverted and I get scared that they're going to come talk to me and I get scared. But I was like, you know what? If they do come talk to me, who cares? I'll give them a compliment or I'll say, have a nice day. Or I'll just be like, hello,
Hi.
like awkward, like you never know. And so I think that conversation impacted me and now I want to make that impact for other people. So I've made it kind of a challenge for myself personally as a more introverted, like softer person. I'd like to be more assertive with my eye contact and my smiling. And like even at the gym, there's regulars we see at the gym. I smile at them, but I've never had a conversation. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to talk to them today. I'm going to say, hey, how's it going? How's your workout? Because we see each other every day. And so I think like challenging yourself in that way, you can spread impact like just by a smile, a conversation, waving hello.
Yeah.
That's huge.
I agree.
I love that.
Yeah.
Thank you, JP.
I know.
And Noah.
I love it. JP was awesome. He is awesome.
Yeah.
But that was like a moment where I was like, damn, impact is crazy because it was like this one event and it just like
Trickled into so many more.
Exactly. Trickles into so many. And I still think about it. I'm like, somebody crossing in front of me when I'm in the car, like, instead of being impatient, I'm like, damn, like, I'm
I'll
just
wait
going
for
to,
you.
I'm going to let them cross and I'm going to smile at them.
Yeah. I like that.
Yeah. And that's a big with drivers because there's so many angry
Yes.
drivers. And it's like, dude, I get it. Life may have been bad for you today and not your day. You got tomorrow and maybe you don't.
Yeah.
And if you don't, make sure that right now is the best right now you could ever live.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. No reason to be angry because other people can't drive.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. I think impact is such a buzzword now, which is kind of unfortunate because everyone's like, oh, I want to impact. But truly, I think what they're doing is influence. Like, I think influence and impact are so different because, like, influencers, it's very easy to spot versus somebody who is, like, genuinely trying to make a difference in somebody's life and impact in a positive way.
almost impacts long term, influences short term.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Like, you're not creating a lasting impact on someone.
Yeah. Impact changes lives. Influence changes decisions in the now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, you might influence someone to buy a product, but you're not going to impact them enough to change something about how they like actually do something in their day-to-day life.
Yeah, I agree. And with the product thing, you're influenced by the product, but does the product actually impact them?
Mm-hmm.
If it doesn't, you're not impacting them. You just wasted their money.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry.
We're being an influencer.
Yeah.
And I think I don't want to shit on influencers. Like, I don't want to talk, because I think, they're making their money. They're doing their
Hey,
thing.
you do.
I mean,
Yeah.
if they're having fun and they enjoy it and they like it, that's awesome. That's cool.
There's, all power to you.
And I do have to say, there are some people who are influencers out there and they don't really care about like impacting others. And I think the self-awareness of that is like good, but they still do in a sense. I'm thinking like fitness influencers, like they help people in a way. And if they're like posting like their training and it goes super hard, some people watch that to go get amped up for their sets. Like, that's cool. They might have small impact here and there, but if you want long-term lasting impact, you have to look at what you're actually doing and have a purpose behind it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Do you guys have any goals like for this year regarding impact?
I think it's always regarding impact with everything.
Mm-hmm. Just growing it and making it a deeper impact than what it has been before.
More purpose within the impact. Like, there's levels to it, kind of like I said with the supplement, like you influence someone to do something, but is it going to impact them in a deep way or not?
Right.
How can we find ways to impact that person on a deeper level, on a life-changing level, instead of just a day-changing level, like a day decision level?
Yeah. Do you guys think it comes down to like, we just want to help people and we want to do that through our impact?
Yes, and I want them to love life, love themselves, love the world, love their friendship as much as I do.
Yeah. It's like we've seen what's possible.
Yeah.
And we're constantly unlocking levels, and we want to do that for others too.
And what's cool is like, for us, like our greatest vision and version is like us in the future. And like, that's the biggest impact to me is like the belief that I have in that person in the future. And like, I want other people, because some people may feel like this person's the biggest impact to them. They want to be this person. No. I want your biggest impact to be the person that you see that's yourself in 10 years from now. And you have to get to this, you have to build yourself to this point in order to feel that way and have that person in 10 years be you and not be someone else.
Yeah.
That's very well said. I think the most important like person that you could impact is truly yourself, because if you're building yourself up, then you're going to be able to help others build up as well.
It's kind of like if you don't love yourself, you can't love others. So first you have to put in the work on yourself, and then you'll see it impact on others as well.
Yeah. So love yourself, stay true to yourself. You guys have been great impactors on me personally, and I know that you will be on the podcast. So
have you.
Yes.
I appreciate that, you guys. And I appreciate y'all for listening.
Yeah.
Thank you for tuning in to another episode of the Becoming Relentless podcast. We will be back. Leave any questions and comments below, and we'll talk to you next time.
All love.
Bye. I hope y'all really enjoyed the podcast today, leaving it feeling more relentless than ever. But we have a few things that we would love to ask of you, so I'm going to give this over to Noah.
Thank you guys so much for listening. If you could, I know that this is your new favorite podcast. Please leave a 5-star rating and review. Leave any comments and questions below, and make sure that you're sharing across social media so that all of your friends get to listen to the greatest podcast on earth.
And if you have any questions about any topics that we talk about or anything at all, fitness, competing related, anything, we'll hit you back up, Instagram or in the podcast under, if the comment box is there, then we will definitely answer your questions and help you out as best as we can.
Absolutely. So leave those 5-star reviews, let us know, and we'll talk to y'all again soon.
Have a relentless day.
Bye.